Hi, I'm Ross Benjamin reporting for the Offshore Gaming Association. That's OSGA.com, your number one source for information on the offshore sportsbook industry. That's OSGA.com. I have three underdog picks for Saturday. I recently wrote an article on these three picks this past Monday. I'm now taping on Friday the 21st. So let's update these picks. And if there's anything that's changed, I'll bring it to your attention, including the point spread, which I don't see any huge differences. But let's get right to these games. Starting with the game between the Akron Zips and the Iowa State Cyclones. The game will take place in Ames, Iowa on Saturday at noon Eastern Time. Currently, as we speak, the Akron Zips are a 19.5-point underdog at Iowa State. This line, when I did the article on Monday, showed Akron as an 18-point underdog, and nothing has changed my mind in this regard as to leaning toward the underdog in this spot, and let me tell you why. This is an Iowa State team that's coming off back-to-back games against in-state rival and undefeated Iowa, and then last Saturday they gave Oklahoma all they can handle during a 37-27 loss at home. On deck after the Akron Zips, they traveled to TCU to take on the number 17 Horned Frogs. In between all of those elite foes, they're taking on a team from the MAC. I just can't believe that Iowa State is going to be mentally sharp, nor as inspired as they have been over the last 2 weeks, or they will be in the following week. I'm going to have a lean here on the underdog, the visiting Akron Zips, plus 19.5 over Iowa State. Next game, we're looking at the Clemson Tigers going to Georgia Tech. Opening kickoff from Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Clemson is currently a 16-point favorite in this game. This game, when I did the article on Monday, showed Clemson as a 17-point favorite. So obviously, some of the bettors have leaned my way in regards to the underdog. Clemson has already been a double-digit road favorite this season on one other occasion. It was their only road game, as a matter of fact. That was at Texas A&M. On that particular day, they closed as an 11.5-point favorite in College Station, and they barely hung on for a 28-26 road victory at Texas A&M. Georgia Tech is in a very rare situation. This is a Georgia Tech team that's coming off back-to-back away favorite and straight-up losses, and then they're installed as a double-digit home underdog in the following week. That doesn't happen very often, folks, and I go back on my database. Very, very rare situation. I challenge you to do your homework to verify that information, but those of you who do trust me on that fact, let's just be real here. Clemson has games coming up in their ACC schedule that are going to be a lot tougher than this one is perceived to be. Also, Georgia Tech will be playing with a lot of revenge against Clemson, who beat them 24-10 at Clemson last year and has won the last three in this head-to-head meeting. I think that Georgia Tech bounces back from two disappointing performances and does enough here to keep this game closer than a lot will think and stay inside this number. I'm going to take the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets here, plus the 16 at home against Clemson. My final game is one of the most underrated teams in the country, Mississippi State, and they're going to go to Lexington, Kentucky to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. That game is slated to kick off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday evening. Currently, as we speak, Kentucky is a 9.5-point home underdog in this game, and that's the same identical line that I had on Monday when I posted my article. Now, Ole Miss, you can't look much better than they've looked. You're talking about an Ole Miss, I'm sorry, not Ole Miss, Mississippi State. You can't look much better than they have. 3-0 straight up in ATS in their first 3 games. They have allowed 10 points or fewer in each of those contests, been absolutely dominant. And then they're going to be facing a Kentucky team that's very quietly gone 3-0 and is averaging 36.7 points and 470 yards of total offense per game. So that vaunted Mississippi State defense that's looked so good over the first 3 games is going to be challenged on the road against a potent Kentucky attack. Mississippi State's next 3 games, they're going to be facing Florida, number 9 Auburn, and number 6 LSU. And before they do that, they're traveling on the road to go to Kentucky here, and this is a Kentucky team they absolutely hammered a season ago in Starkville, Mississippi, 45-7. So I can honestly see Mississippi State really resting on their laurels here for their first 3 wins and how well they've looked, and be looking ahead to their upcoming tougher opponents as they're perceived once again in the SEC. I like Kentucky here in this spot at home, getting the 9.5 points over Mississippi State. Repeating again, Akron plus 19.5 at Iowa State. Georgia Tech plus 16 at home against the Clemson Tigers, and the Kentucky Wildcats plus 9.5 at home against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. My name is Ross Benjamin. You can visit my personal website. That's rbwins.com. Until the next time, good luck with all your picks.